When you're working a new job and get ratted out to your supervisor by a 300-pound asthmatic lesbian coworker for inappropriate language, and then to have said supervisor give you an adult speech about proper work ethics, all while wearing a cartoon duck on his shirt, one does question the paths they've chosen in their life. This is the part where we're approaching the big black forest, where the carriage master stops because the horses are screaming in fear and looks back at us and says, "This is as far as I go." So please, pause your cat video, log out of your OnlyFans account, and walk with me into the scary woods. And try this new beverage with me called being a fucking adult. But don't look back. I welcome you to the last great rant. Yeah, I mean, if anything right now, my whole obsession is, or my, fascination is kind of like the war in the Ukraine, um, in the sense that we're now, the U.S. and the Ukraine is in the biggest, the biggest divide since the Cold War, um, as far as political relations because of this shit. But then I started hearing about these Russian oligarchs, these guys who are worth millions of dollars. I mean, it's probably unknown amounts, just like, something from like, Scrooge McDuck kind of stuff, things are made out of gold or whatever. You don't know the exact price of what it is. But yeah, it's just these, like, Switzerland started turning away Russian business because of this shit, which is like amazing to me because Switzerland is known for being neutral across the board. So, things are either really bad or really good, depending who you are, when that shit goes down. It's all about status and money to me. I look at people who get the electric car, unless it's for to save money on gas, or this shit for, um, buying special seeds and, going organic because they want to save the earth. I really look at these people as soft bitches. I'm more obsessed with the people who make salary and the people who make obscene types of money. Not that I'm going to be successful, but I'm hoping if I hang out with these people, that maybe some of it will rub off on me. That's the dream. I want to learn more about how they work. I'm getting, um, I mean, my nipples are getting hard when I think about the profit margins that these guys go through. I mean, it really. So I was watching a documentary about Disneyland and D-Land, I should say. My You got to be careful. These guys, I mean, even the fucking Mickey Mouse ears have like FBI style fingers everywhere to, like, corporate YouTube take you down shit. But anyways, one of the things I learned about this document, and the documentary was literally about the people, the staff that works at Disneyland, and like the cleaning crews, the people who dress up like Goofy or whatever, rodents and animal characters they have to, make. These are like the lowest of the jobs, but they made somewhat of a decent living, even though it's like Irvine, California. Um, uh, uh, and so they had layoffs or whatever for a while, but they're talking about this, and because of COVID, this is what went down, and one of the statistics, or one of the actual, um, sorry, I keep saying a lot, but just kind of roll with me. Oh yeah, they mentioned that during COVID, the sale of super yachts was up like to 62% or something. That just, I mean, but who's making the money? That I just have more questions. I'm really coming off as like a tard. Maybe there's people that know the answer to that, but it's just fascinating to me is that, they always say, like, during tragedy or economic turmoil, there's somebody making money, um, hurricanes happen and wipe out whole villages, you pay attention to the lumber market because they're going to need those resources to, uh, build that. So you buy stock in that shit or whatever. Yeah, I think it's just, it's great. Yeah, because these guys are the ones that are coming at life with an angle. And that's really what I needed to do. So much regret of the past I have in life was not focusing on making lots and lots of money. That's really what it is. I mean, following your dreams and your passions, it's cute. You should give it a try. But after age 25, it's just, and don't do anything like, in the humanities, I want to work with children. I want to help people. It's fucking, oh my God. It's, what are those activists or whatever? Those people that go across, I don't even know what that is. If you're a doctor or a nurse, like that's an actual skill that can be used. You can actually go, uh, you're wanted is what I'm trying to say. Nobody's going to give a fucking shit if you're like, save the whales or whatever, save the rainforest and, whatever. I just want to find that person that's got like a lead on drilling some kind of mineral out of some rock in a faraway land that hasn't been discovered yet. Some third world country, and um, those are the guys you want to look for. Um, just trying to, what was it? The old term, work smarter, not harder. Blah blah blah. But it reminds me of when I went to get my driver's license. Um, there's so many areas to do that are kind of like it's not a good idea to actually take the driver's test because I had failed the written so many times, but finally passed it. But somebody told me like if you want to get your driver's license, just if you're worried about, don't do it like in downtown Beaverton or Portland. There's one-way streets everywhere. I was really worried about that, and then just somebody said, "Well, dude, just go to Sherwood." I was like, "What do you mean? That's far out?" Well, yeah, but there's hardly anything out there. I'm like, oh fuck, you're right. And I did, and I passed. I got it. It was the parallel parking was like nothing. It was like two football fields in between me and another car. It was great. The point is that you know I wasn't thinking outside the box. And everything should be legal, of course, that's the way it should be. But you know, any loophole you can find, that's what you should be doing. And I swear to Christ, if I ever have a kid and a family of my own, which I dream about that sometimes, but it has to be really good. You got to make something decent enough. Um, I mean, but financially, I mean that. But like, I daydream sometimes about teaching, you know, Mike Jr. about. Yeah, I want him to have a childhood or whatever. But what age do you break him in and tell him about the real struggles of survivability in life? Is it 10, 11, 12? You have to, just tell him like, I need you to make good grades, buddy. I need you to get into an Ivy League school, but like, just the 4-year degree. You don't worry about too long, but I need you to make connections, son. I really need you to understand how this works. I need you to branch out, because the end of the world's coming. It's just a matter of time. There's no need to save it. It's more about just living through it, surviving through it, and you know, I just want to have a son that I can raise that he will eventually, thanks to me with my wisdom giving it to him, that he'll make it to like Elysium. He'll make it to one of the transport ships that leaves this, scumbag of a planet. And, he'll be fine with his hot, pristine, yuppie white wife and my grandchildren. And they'll live on Alpha Base 7 on the moon. And they'll be safe because, I told them to like get in with the rich, the elite, the Space Force, the, omega sector, whatever you want to call it. These are important things, I think, but it's, when do you do that though? When do you really have that conversation? I mean, if you give a shit, and I actually do. That's kind of the point of life, I think, for a man, is that sooner or later you should have a family. Otherwise, you can't. Don't be the guy. Like, I'm trying not to be that guy at which is hard at like the bar at a certain age where you're just like, I know I'm getting laughed at. I'm just drinking or whatever, but life's kind of flashing before my eyes. But I do have, I don't know. I know time's running out, and that's one thing that's more. If there's anything more important than T bills and stock options and you know gold bars, is time, and I'm running out of it. But that's but yeah, I have those thoughts sometimes. I think that family is so important. Money's important, but family is also your own family, your own blood. You just look at others of I look at, like, my spirit animal right now is the East Coast people, very much in the very, like, Native American sense, very holy motherland. Yeah, we worship the pine trees and the pine grove, the earth. And I look at my tribe, not like that, like, Tatanka, Buffalo, none of that shit, but that same kind of, like, stupid, pretentious healing crystal dreamcatcher lifestyle that mostly, like, white liberal women in their 30s love, with the yoga shit. Like, the way they emulate that, or the way they worship that, I worship, like, the guys from New Jersey, Philadelphia, New York, very much East Coast people, and also some people from Florida, mostly Miami. But I look at those people, their attitudes. Once upon a time, I thought they were assholes. Okay, and they are, and that's who they are. But they're, because most of the time they're looking out for themselves, and they look at anybody, man or woman, and what they look at them is, it's just like, what can you do for me? And I like 10 years ago, I should have been fucking thing like this, God, if it's a fucking time machine. I mean, me and my bitch tits, I could definitely get rid of those. A time machine just work out a lot better. But nevertheless, that's the kind of mentality that people, it's all about misunderstanding all the time, where it's just like, this guy always honks his horn at me. He's always like an asshole. Like, you don't understand. He understands. And some of the women do too. God bless them. The women out there, like, fuck you, asshole. Kick the shit out of him, Johnny. Kick the shit out of him, for a parking space. We don't, in Oregon, we don't have any traditions. Sports teams, once in a while, the Blazers might do something and win a basketball game championship. It was 1977. Never mind. Fuck it. Never mind. There's no sports, but there's no pride or love for a team or that traditional shit. Over on the East Coast is different. I mean, I have a friend of mine where she's from outside of Philadelphia, but I think Westchester or somewhere. And in the same state, there's Pittsburgh, and they hate each other. Like, I told her one time, there was a guy that was a supervisor in my department I used to work for, and he's from Pittsburgh, this, like, short ginger guy, whatever. And he's a big fucking Steelers fan. And, like, yellow car and yellow banner. And I told her about that. I was like, just kind of see her reaction. And she just, like, fucking asshole. Like, just like, it's like smiling, like, oh yeah, this guy from Pittsburgh. Just change the conversation. Like, but that's the kind of, like, I value that. It's like, whether you're very poor or you're very rich, there's always that, just that, like, hey, at least we're from Philly. At least we're from, 7th Avenue, Brooklyn, that kind of shit. None of that over here. Everything over here is just, just more pretend. I mean, oh my God, it's Portland. So, for, like, food carts and everybody dressing up in plaid and, telling you about, the best, like, sushi restaurant they went to. I mean, there's no diversity. They preach diversity in Portland as far as, like, a racial aspect, but there's really none of that going on. It's really just your favorite Thai food place or your favorite Mexican, stand or whatever for good tacos, which, I like that too, but once in a while, change it up. I mean, there's this nice restaurant, I think it's nice, called Borican. It's somewhere in downtown Beaverton, and it's a Puerto Rican uh, style food restaurant. And I went there a couple of years ago to get because I was like excited, like, oh man, I've never had like Cubana or any of these guys' food, stuff like this. And like I remember, I'll just try like an hors d'oeuvre or whatever. It was like a potato, it's like stuffed potato roll, or maybe just potatoes. I don't know. They were like deep fried, but they had like ground beef in the middle of them with seasoning, and they tasted pretty good. I was like, oh man, well this is really gonna go back and have like a main dish. I went back for like a main dish and was completely let down. And I remember like ordering this dish. It was like a meat patty of some sort, like pounded beef, and like the center of it was cold or some shit. Like it was literally put in the microwave, and I was just like, what the fuck? And I never went back, but I don't know. It's still around now. This is like 2 or 3 years ago. I looked them up recently on Google, and apparently they're still kicking. So maybe I just had a bad night. But the point being, there's just yeah, it's like you got to go out of your way. I mean, there's no good Italian food. Really, there's a place called Giraldi's that makes a good hero. Like over in Beaverton and downtown Portland, there's some nice Italian restaurants here and there, but as a whole, it's mostly just, the words fusion and Asian come up a lot. And it's just like, oh God, these people. It's just, I get it. You're a software engineer who just loves the chopsticks, and once in a while you get to live your dream going to Tokyo and, fucking your favorite anime character or whatever. So, I mean, it's really what Portland's for. It's just, half the time I think I'm going to catch autism from some of these people. Just the weird, just the taste is just, it, oh God. I mean, grow the fuck up. Just a little bit, huh? Just pretend that, you weren't that guy that got his ass kicked in grade school. Give me a little bit of hope that there's something, going to go on. And yeah, whatever though. I mean, I think that's, again, that's why I kind of am more obsessed with going to go visit the East Coast. I mean, I feel like they're my people in a way. Um, Mostly because I've just had the accent. First of all, I don't have an accent, but I'd say after 30 years old, I started to have people asking me, assuming that I was from New Jersey or somewhere on the East Coast. And it's like, no, man, I'm pretty much Oregon, raised. This is West Portland, Beaverton, suburbs, basic bitch, you know, city kid lifestyle. But people have like come up to me and said this, and I don't hear it. Like it's gotten to the point where I've asked my brother, my mom, people I know close to me, exes, like, and just ask them, like, hey man, do I have an accent? Like, no. Well, everybody says I have an accent. Like, no. I was like, I think it's my theory is just being fat, uh the smoking, and a searing hot rage towards life. Those three main ingredients, the Holy Trinity, has just altered my voice into what you think I must be from the East Coast. And I really do feel that they're my blood. It's like that horrible late 80s movie Cocoon with the elderly people in the retirement home. The aliens come down and, turn their swimming pool because they have these like pods or whatever to hatch the aliens from. But the water is like in the pool, the old people's homes turn the water like this youthful, experience. And the old people bathe in the water. Like I need to, bathe in the waters of my homeland of Newark, New Jersey. I don't know. Well, I'll figure it out later. But I'm definitely a big Sopranos fan. That's definitely a big part of my life, as far as just, well, not my life. I'm just saying, like, that show kind of, again, I apparently that show's kind of based on some real people, and I respect their views and their way on life. The way they respect the land and the way they respect, gambling and hurting other people when they don't pay up. There's something to that. It's beautiful. The big beefy bouncer guy with the huge arms and neck with the gold chain around his neck, which is probably not even really gold, and named Vito or whatever, and just douses too much cologne. And actually, that's kind of my dad's people. Actually, the too much cologne. Yeah, we're very much similar. The Persians, the Italians. Yeah, there's something there. I think yeah, we love business. We love. I think the Persians are probably a little more friendlier in a way. I think family wise. No, I'm debating in my head. Although I do like pasta more. Yeah, Dad did too much with the fucking rice dishes. So I mean, fucking asshole. It wasn't until I was 13 years old I had my first pork chop. But anyways, yeah. These the someday I'll be going over there, but yeah, you need to look out after yourself now more than ever. And I wouldn't I say this because I actually care. I have this is that kind of out of love, and again, it's a misunderstanding. It's people hearing what I have to say and they get offended because I think being offended right now is a skill. Sometimes when I see people bitch and moan over like nothingness, um, it's like animals. If you have a rat problem in your house right now or whatever, and you need to you call the exterminator, but they're probably you can't talk about that too much. Like, oh my god, what's gonna happen? It's just like, but they're horrible. They're little creatures. They never deserve a life. Like, you're 35 years old. Yeah, you need to grow the fuck up. Oh my god, it never ends. Anyway, I digress, but um, in that sense, but yeah, the rat. Oh, so what am I? Oh shit, am I 16 minutes? All right, yeah, yeah. Anyways, I think it's about time to wrap this up. I think I've had you guys have had enough or whatever, but just remember, I love you. I love you all.